have my little diorama set up pretty nicely. I'm satisfied with this photo here. Another thing that you can do is, because these are like the in-game models, you know, it is a 3D environment, so you can pan and kind of show off the diorama a bit. It's actually pretty interesting to have that angle as well. I like the pseudo leaning on the back there. That was kind of the intention. You know, it's just something that's interesting. Play around with the diorama, play around with the angles that you have. There's interesting things that you could do with higher angles. Interesting things that you could do with lower angles, especially if you have something zoomed out a lot. I don't know why she's spinning like that. Yeah, like where you have a lower angle where you're close to the ground. And it gives you a greater sense of scale. It gives you a better sense of like looking what's around it, what's around the team there, and giving intensity. When something's up closer, you have a greater sense on the characters themselves. When something's further back, there's interesting things you could do with having something in the foreground as well. This is pretty bad, especially because it's low poly up front. But regardless, this is me just playing around too much with thinking about photography and arrangements and all of this. There's a lot that you can do, where it's really a matter of exploring your options. And I'm just super satisfied with so many little things. Like, because I spend a lot of time making the models and everything. So when there's a good mission, I really want to have like good photos of it. Consider the composition with what's in the background, the angles that you're going at, things that could be in the foreground, and you kind of have to take whatever shows up at you. Like, this would be an interesting thing if I had if I were trying to introduce someone. I don't want to look like I'm shooting at the driver. This would be an interesting thing as well if I were trying to like establish, hey, a car is coming up, and you know, introducing a character jumping out of the car. That would be interesting as well. I just wanted to reflect a bit about photography for a bit. I don't think you can go under the ground, so to speak. No, it just zooms in more. Because it would be nice if I could pan that up. No, it just goes in further. It's not great. Regardless, it's also a pretty good one. Right there. If I moved her like that. So there's a lot of things that get really nice. I like that being directly at the viewer. Everyone else is kind of to the side. Let's see if we can move further slightly. And yeah, we've got another winner. Let's pan that a little. So we have everything in. Yeah, so there's just so many little things where, you know, different angle, different composition, and it really fits together. This is like, because it's a poster style, you have to consider the aspect ratio of having things not too busy up above and not too busy below. So this does bring attention to the text that we have there, but then you want a lot of action going on in the center. This is little things like, well, what if I go over here? What if I do this? What if I go like that? And this is just one location. So there's a lot that you can do with going to different locations. I should make this more systematic, where I should like zoom out and then like pan a bit to see kind of, well, what's in my vicinity here, and what do I want to use. Because like I could frame something like that, you know, going through the gate or waiting by the gate. I could frame something like here. There's not a lot that's like active or what have you. Or I should be a little more systematic when choosing my locations. Like here, this is a good thing to be zoomed out on, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the background. So this wouldn't be so much character focus, but it'd give you a greater sense of scale. And I do like the color contrast between having the yellow up front and then having the darker colors back here, where that draws the eye back there, and you have balance of, there's some kind of mob over here. It's kind of like a yin-yang balance going on there. This like lean back, kind of a slight head tilt downward shows a bit of like almost like a sadistic look. It looks a little calmer from the side because you don't have as harsh of an angle from that slight downward look that she's giving, which it's almost like it's looking down on someone. It's almost sadistic in the appearance, where here it's more from the side. Here it's not as harsh of like a triangular kind of aggression. This is more relaxed with it. Yeah, I'll let you do the work kind of attitude that's going there. Other thing. So that's pretty good. Oh my god, I didn't take it. So that's fine. Here it like randomly reset things. I'm fine with that. I just wanted to explain some of the details that go into making things. Here's another trick that's really nice. If I could grab them and move them across, when you have, I would like cover it up like that. I would move them to the side here, so you have big thing in the background and something to kind of clip the aspect ratio up here. Actually, if I went up like this, that gives us it gives a different effect. I can kind of do it like this, where I would have I'm shortening the aspect ratio, so I got all of this to give the grittiness to the background, and I am separating out distance so that I can draw attention to the text above. Nothing going on here because that's just in shadow. We do have a bit of there would be good. We do have a bit of lines going on. See, now I'm tempted to like make all of them turn and look this way. I would say the first thing that you would manage to like systematically do something is look at the props in the background, see how you can do something interesting with the framing of it, like how I'm using the gate to frame things here. And, you know, going to different locations, seeing what things you can frame. Like, that's an interesting thing, where there's the low wall, so I'm like, hey, what poses do I have where it could look like they're sitting on the wall? Oh, this is nice. This explains some of the foreground, background stuff that I was trying to explain before. There we go. So we have some headroom, so we're not, that looks a little crowded, but if I go out a bit, there's headroom, so it's not, their head's not jammed up against the background prop that's there. That's a really nice one. And if I had something like this, that would get distracting, where it's like, wait, there's like a gap there. Is that supposed to be there? But here it's more solid. I have some very colorful, not so much out of this group, especially because like urban camo, though I really love how well she fits in with this environment. But I do have some really colorful characters, like actually with color schemes and the like. Finally finishing that last thought. You have a very active scene when you have something in the foreground, in the background, and then something contrasting in the center. So static, moving. Or you could have something that, well, it really depends on where you're trying to gather attention with stuff. If something's further in the back and looks much larger, then you could have something simple, and then something that like really catches your eye to give this like Faustian, like looking into the distance kind of thing. I don't want it to go too far out to the side because then we're overlapping there. But that's interesting. That's an interesting angle, and it goes kind of with the horizon line back there. That's another good framing. So here, this is a bit awkward, actually. Again, putting an organic shape in the middle of hard lines like that. But let's move Scorpion slightly so she's looking a little further to the side. That's nice. It's kind of like playing pool in a way, where you have an intuitive understanding of like angles and the like, of like what you have to change, how you have to adjust to move things in a particular way. So we can clear that so that we're not really conflicting with any angles there. That does create a bit of a gap. So we would want to change her pose to have something where that arm, yep, is filling the gap. That's good enough. And then without worrying about the water tower and that weird lamp. Oh no, we got it. Do we got it? Perfect. That's money. That's money right there. All right.
I certainly hope our propaganda effort is not funded from my research budget.
No, it's just funded from my my obsession with photography and composition. I have a passion for photography and compilation, so if I have if I have my T dolls that I can pose, T pose even. I have one last thing to say, is when you manage, I can actually use her to demonstrate this. So you have sight lines is the thing where someone's looking. If you lengthen the sight line that they have, actually having the T pose is going to help here. So we have this horizontal line here, and that helps give a. It's unfortunate that that box is there, but that helps to give a sense of distance when looking out to the left here. So we have the lines that's kind of leading the eye to the left. The characters are looking that way. So there's this kind of flatness. So this helps with having the arms out there. There's this kind of flatness that's there. And then there's also invisible lines for like sights that that we unconsciously empathize with. That also kind of drive their own lines where if they are in parallel to other things in the background, it helps give a sense of balance to it. So we're giving more space to the left here. There's not that much going on. I wish that I could let me bring this crate thing up and have the crate like hanging here so it fills up some of the space. Yeah, there's not much going on here. Maybe I'd have, if I were painting this, I'd have like a building going on in the background, maybe underneath this. So that's still the high point there. This counterweight is no problem. If I could, I would move this over a bit so we have like a pattern of this angle here, and then we see a little more of the stark angle from this going up. That lamppost is just fine. That's nice to have a little background, whatever going on. The important thing is sight lines going to the left here, and we give it space. But yeah, that's everything. That was nice to kind of share some thoughts with stuff, and do a bit of photo shooting. It feels really good. It feels really good. And thank you for watching this wonderful episode where your commander took a day to to play photographer for a while. Thank you for watching.